Before you buy a home, you have to see this growing scam that can steal your funds using information readily available on the internet. New FEMA and unemployment assistance are available for folks impacted by Hurricane Beryl. I'm going to show you how to apply. And
I will never put it in the mailbox like that again. I don't trust it.
She mailed 3 money orders to pay bills, but they disappeared along with the ink on them. The resurgence of check washing. Plus, we've got another 99 great ways to help you save. New tips from AARP that you will want to see. Hey there, welcome to Dollars and Cents. I'm your host, Heather Sullivan. Stick with me for the next 20 minutes. I've got ways to help you beat inflation, cut your costs, and make some really smart moves. We've been rounding up the best money-saving reports from Fox stations across the country, so let's get started. Now, purchasing a home is a very exciting milestone, but a record number of home buyers are falling victim to fraudsters. This is a new scheme you need to see before you buy your next home. Fox's Rebecca Castor explains the alarming trend and what to look out for.
Today, Carly Coulter is all smiles in front of her new home, but buying it almost became a nightmare for her parents.
We didn't know if we were going to be big losers or if we were going to come out okay. She is on the autism spectrum. We needed to have something that was small, affordable for us, and have her be able to walk to work.
The perfect home nearly slipped through the Coulter family's fingers after Stu received emails he thought were from his mortgage lender and lawyer regarding the payment plan for closing. But really, the emails were from fraudsters, jumping in at the last minute to divert $50,000 to a bogus bank account.
The biggest fear was, how am I going to scrape together another payment to secure the home?
Real estate just happens to be like right at the bullseye of large monies moving, a lot of people communicating electronically, and all the information that you need for the fraud is easy to find publicly on the internet.
That's why real estate has become a lucrative target for scammers, with 1 in 20 home buyers or sellers falling victim to fraud last year, and average losses exceeding $70,000.
Every minute that goes by gives a fraudster a higher likelihood to move that money into another account or to potentially get it offshore. And once it gets offshore, it's nearly impossible to recover.
Certify ID, a wire fraud protection service, was able to help recover Stu's stolen money. But he wants other home buyers to be aware that scammers are closely watching.
I'm getting a little choked up right now because, I think the lesson I learned from it is don't rush things.
There's currently no federal law that protects consumers from scams like this. But at a hearing with the Senate Banking Committee earlier this year, reps from consumer groups and financial institutions warned lawmakers the issue is getting worse. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
Yeah, scary, isn't it? All right, well, federal aid is now available in 16 counties for people affected by Hurricane Beryl. The aid may cover things like temporary housing, emergency home repairs, and uninsured or underinsured property loss. There are 3 ways to apply. You can register online at disasterassistance.gov, use the FEMA app, or call FEMA. Here's the number. It's 1-800-621-3362. And we have more on how FEMA can help and what information you're going to need to apply. It's all on fox26houston.com. Meanwhile, H-E-B wants to help you restock your freezer after the power outage. Now through Sunday, the 21st, all frozen food items are 10% off, and that includes ice. The discount will automatically be applied at the register and is good at all H-E-Bs in and around Houston. And if you haven't been able to work due to Hurricane Beryl, you can now apply for disaster unemployment benefits in 17 counties impacted by the hurricane through the Texas Workforce Commission. So here's the information. This is under the Presidential Disaster Declaration that workers and self-employed people who've been unable to work due to damage from the hurricane may be eligible for this disaster unemployment assistance benefit. You can apply online through a link. I've got it on Sullivan Smart Sense on fox26houston.com. Or you can call them up, 1-800-939-6631. Now, applications must be submitted by September 9th, and you do need to specify that your application is related to Hurricane Beryl. Here's why. The deadline has been extended to apply for unemployment benefits from the severe weather in Texas between April and June. Applicants now have until August 15th to apply for those benefits. Now, since Hurricane Beryl just stormed into the Houston area, it seems that scammers have done the same, setting their sights on unsuspecting victims. When the internet was down, seniors in assisted living in Pasadena say they heard they could call an 800 number to book a hotel room. But as Fox 26's Dominique Keith reports, they soon discovered they had no reservation and their money was long gone.
I was very hurt, very disappointed. Like you say, it was devastating as it is, being the heat, nowhere to go, and I thought I had a reservation at a hotel. I booked it through booking.com.
Or what you thought was booking.com.
What I thought exactly was booking.com, and they quoted me for 2 nights, one king size bed for $207.
The phone number that was listed on the reservation to the hotel
was incorrect.
And so that was a red flag.
That was a red flag. When I called the number, it come up saying the cellular person or number that you're trying to reach, it's not in service right now. Something like that.
So you drove to the hotel?
So I drove to the hotel. He said he couldn't verify my reservation. It's really, really frustrating, really ticks me off that they take advantage of seniors and everybody when it's a disaster.
Now, Aura was able to get that money back through her credit card. The Texas Attorney General wants to know, though, about scams that are happening after the storm. You can report them through a link on fox26houston.com. Okay, are you an AT&T customer? Well, you may be one of 109 million impacted by a breach. The telecommunications giant says that they don't believe the data is publicly available and that it doesn't contain content from text messages, calls, or sensitive information like social security numbers or dates of birth. But cybersecurity experts say the information could be used to figure out who you've been talking to. AT&T says the third-party platform Snowflake downloaded the information between May 1st and October 31st of 2022. The company's investigation is still ongoing. At least one person was apprehended so far. Hope they catch them all. Well, investigators are warning that the crime of check washing has resurfaced. That's when thieves steal checks right out of the mail, and they use a chemical to remove the name you've written on a check, and then they write in one that they can cash. An elderly Milwaukee woman lost 3 checks to this until Fox's Jenna Sachs stepped in.
I've always been a Packer fan.
Teresa Warziniak is a frugal football fan.
My first great-granddaughter bought me that.
It's why she has a pot holder, a towel, even coasters on display.
My granddaughter keeps asking me, well, why don't you use them?
Instead of in use.
It's the Packer stuff. You don't use the Packer stuff.
Teresa's monthly income is limited, but she never fumbles a bill.
I don't like being late on my bills. I've never been late.
So when 3 money orders Teresa mailed for her internet, mortgage, and credit card never arrived.
I was fit to be tied. I didn't know what to do.
In April, at a Milwaukee Pick and Save, Teresa got 3 money orders totaling $740. On her way to church for a Sunday service, Teresa stopped by the post office near 76th and Forest Home and dropped the money orders in a blue box.
I will never put it in the mailbox like that again. I don't trust it.
A post office employee later told Teresa the box was robbed.
And they said, well, we don't know where your letters are.
So Teresa and her son, Chad, wrote to Contact 6 for help. We emailed Western Union, which issued her money orders. We learned they'd been cashed by someone Teresa doesn't know.
They rinsed them out and put their name and address on them.
We helped Teresa get these copies of her cashed money orders. This one was originally made out to Spectrum, this one to Discover, and this one to Landmark Credit Union. But those aren't the names on the orders anymore. They were made out to a Menominee Falls man. We blurred his name and address because he isn't charged with the crime. So how do we know these are Teresa's? The serial numbers in the top right corners match the numbers on Teresa's receipts.
Our understanding is that check washing is increasing increasing.
The Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection advises dropping off payments inside the post office, placing a hold on mail while on vacation, and using gel pens on checks.
A gel pen can't be chemically washed the same way as a traditional ballpoint ink pen can be.
The United States Postal Inspection Service says checks can be washed in chemicals to remove the ink. Sometimes scammers will even use copiers or scanners to print fake copies of a check.
Can we at least get the money back?
The answer to that question is yes, once Teresa and Chad pass the ball to Contact 6.
So I got the $740 back, but I never would have been able to do it without you guys.
In Milwaukee, I'm Jenna Sachs, Contact 6.
So glad they were able to get her money back. Now, Gen Z and millennials are visiting grocery stores in far-flung places, not because they're planning to cook. They are jetting off around the world and doing what's called grocery store tourism. Travelers say an unfamiliar overseas supermarket can teach you a lot about local foods and how to make them a lot cheaper than going to a trendy restaurant. And nothing feels better after a stressful year than going on vacation, right? But are you going into debt to do it? Many Americans are. Fox's Augustin Hayes shines a light on what you need to watch out for.
At the heart of it, I think it's this I deserve mentality.
The summer months are a sizzling time to travel, but nearly half of Americans hitting the road are carrying more baggage than what they packed in their luggage.
And, you know, to quote Peter Cetera, everybody needs a little time away, but not on debt.
Wallet Hub says 46% of Americans are still paying off debt from last summer.
If you're going into debt for vacation, you're saying, I deserve this. And so you buy something that you can't afford and you go into debt for it. You start paying it off, but before you can finish, you see something else you deserve and you buy it on payments.
A new Wallet Hub survey found nearly a quarter of Americans would skip a credit card payment before skipping a vacation. 40% said it's worth going into debt for a good getaway.
Commit to paying cash for the vacation, research it, right? Find out how much it's going to cost, budget to save up for it. I suggest EveryDollar. It's my favorite budgeting app. But if you're not in your debt-free era, what we would teach you to do is let's get a hold of our finances first. Let's pay off our consumer debt, right? Let's save up 3 to 6 months, and then we can start committing to cash vacations.
More than half of Wallet Hub's survey respondents planned on spending less money this summer than last summer, with 68% saying inflation is affecting their travel plans.
Then when you actually go on the trip, you need to budget for the spending money that you're going to need. And again, whether you choose cash, I wouldn't carry too much cash on my person. It's nice to have a debit card because it's also protected by the same rules as a credit card, so you don't have to worry about risk.
Money experts recommend taking advantage of credit card rewards when booking travel plans, but make sure you can pay off the balance in full to avoid interest charges. In New York, I'm Madison Allworth, Fox Business.
And a study from Bank of America shows that young investors are moving away from traditional markets. Instead, they're using things like crypto to grow their wealth. Fox 35's Eben Brown is hearing from the experts.
Parents and grandparents historically have urged their kids and grandkids to save up and maybe invest.
It's never too early to start talking to kids about wealth.
But unlike baby boomers and Gen Xers, younger people aren't so quick to buy the advice of financial planners or investment advisors, opting to stay away from old-fashioned stocks and bonds and sink their money into cryptocurrency and digital assets. And the how-to is often just a screen tap away.
Today, as soon as kids can Google, they can start to figure out information about a family, about their wealth, about the assets that they have. So the sooner that we start engaging them and educating them in the conversation, I think the better off we are.
A new survey from Bank of America Private Bank reveals 72% of young investors don't think stocks or bonds will deliver the returns they want. So they're investing in alternatives, with online misinformation often replacing expert advice when it comes to wealth management. More than half aren't even engaged in estate planning, suggesting those investors aren't adopting time-tested best practices for managing their wealth because they can't find it on all the fun apps.
Young individuals in general tend to pick up the bulk of their news from social media. So some of that is tried and true and tested and very informed, and some of that's just trendy.
And Bank of America estimates about $84 trillion will be changing hands over the next few decades as baby boomers pass on their wealth to their children. In Miami, Eben Brown, Fox News.
Yeah, social media is probably not your best source for investment information. All right, the dog days of summer have set in. The mercury is climbing and we're starting to feel those temps topping the 100s. Well, before your air conditioner goes bust, we do have some expert advice that will actually help you save money on repairs and maintenance. Fox's Orko Manor reports from California on the steps that we can all use in this heat.
At RPM HVAC service in Roseville,
hazardous, if not fatal, electrical voltage is present.
Owner Bob Fow shows us a capacitor.
You'll see these things bulging, they'll bulge, or they'll be leaking.
It's just one of the issues they see when fixing air conditioners. Because of the current heat wave, the family-owned company got 60 calls in just the last 24 hours and expects even more as the triple digits continue.
When we hit extreme highs, the guys are working day and night. We're killing ourselves to meet the needs of the market.
A whiteboard shows only a handful of their current jobs, but if you're not already on the list.
When we get into the high triple digit temperatures and you call for a service call, many times that's days away.
That's when they'll provide portable air conditioners for people stuck in the heat.
I would imagine for a week like this, potentially a lifesaver for people.
Yes.
Something people can do on their own.
This is a 1-inch filter. They also come in 2 and 4 inch.
Is clean their air filters.
The filter, when dirty, when it needs replaced, restricts airflow. And airflow is the number one cause of an air conditioner malfunctioning.
That preventative maintenance can save you money. Setting your thermostat to a certain temperature can also help.
The number we like to provide is 78 degrees. That's a good middle number for comfortability, but also for saving money. And for every 2 degrees that you increase your thermostat, you can save an additional 10 to 15% in energy savings.
SMUD also suggests turning fans on to circulate cool air in your home. But with more people blasting the AC this week, will that impact the state's electricity grid?
It depends a lot on the circumstances of any given heat wave and the weather patterns, but it is one of the reasons that we've activated the State Operations Center.
The Cal OEF State Operations Center is keeping an eye on things and will help come up with a plan if there's an issue.
At this time, we don't see immediate concerns about the grid, but that's something we always monitor.
Of course, we all know about keeping an eye on the grid here in Texas, too. Now, times are tight for so many families, but AARP is offering ways to help you save money. 99 ways, in fact. This is their 15th annual list of 99 great ways to save money on everything, from car care to travel to groceries, and there are always some great new tips on the list.
AARP has dropped its 15th annual list of 99 great ways to save. You've probably heard not to grocery shop when you're hungry, but you shouldn't shop for clothes when you're hungry either. A University of Minnesota study found hungry shoppers wanted 70% more products.
People who are shopping for clothes and they're hungry are more prone to impulse buys.
AARP also found it's better to wait until winter to take on home improvement projects.
It's better to wait because then the contractors are really looking for work at that time. So not only will they give you their full attention, but you might also just get a savings as a result.
They suggest neighbors can save by hiring the same gardener.
To come to your neighborhood, service several homes at once, it saves them time, and they just may give you a discount as a result.
AARP says consider buying refurbished electronics like cell phones.
Typically, these resale places offer a warranty to back up a used cell phone, and you can save hundreds of dollars off of a cell phone.
They say move your money from a savings account to a high yield account.
If your savings account is still at 1%, banks are now offering 4 to 5%. And it's a great way to really have your money work harder for you.
And the best date to buy a plane ticket for Christmas travel?
You want to book your travel by early October. According to Google data, flights are cheapest 71 days out from your departure day. So go ahead and mark your calendar now to make sure that you can lock in those savings for your holiday travel.
Yep, count back 71 days. Now, you don't have to be an AARP member to see all of the 99 great ways to save. I've got a link to it for you on Sullivan Smart Sense on fox26houston.com. Okay, to share or not to share. Many couples are making tough decisions on if and when to share passwords on their online accounts. We're talking Spotify, Netflix, Amazon Prime. If you only have one, a joint account, that could actually save you money, but it can also make things kind of tricky, especially if there are issues later with your relationship. Experts say take it slow. Start with low-risk accounts like your streaming accounts. Another tip: what's your motivation for sharing? Is it to save money? Is it a sign of trust? Or perhaps is it to spy on each other? Something to think about. All right, and how about this? Do you hate waiting in line? We all do. But a business called Same Old Line Dudes was started in 2012 by Robert Samuel, who came up with the idea when he was fired from his job. He decided to charge money for people who didn't want to wait in line for a new iPhone. Well, business really picked up during the pandemic, and then his business started saving spots at COVID testing sites. Well, now Samuel and his team have grown into a 35-worker lineup on any given day, waiting for everything from a table in a restaurant to sales at high-end stores. Brilliant idea. All right, that's our show. Thanks for joining us. Drop me a line on Instagram, Facebook, or X. It's all Heather Sullivan, Fox 26. I love getting your comments. And you'll find more ways to save every day on Sullivan Smart Sense on fox26houston.com. And we'll see you next time right here on Dollars and Cents.